Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Lynette. Today we're going to talk about success. I heard recently on a social media site that we should be silent about our success until we're successful enough that the success makes the noise. And I thought about that a lot because the truth is, it's not that people aren't happy for you, but I think they tend to compare themselves to you. And I notice that I don't always quite get the positive feedback that I'm hoping for. I think it makes people feel like they should be at the same level you are. However, that is not true because as spiritual beings, we're all individual in terms of where we are spiritually, what our experiences were, what made us who we are today. In other words, we don't need to talk about things until they come to fruition. It is interesting when you're working on something, how you almost need to keep it to yourself for two reasons. One, you don't want to jinx it. And by jinx it, I mean, have you ever noticed when things seem to be going your way and you talk too much about it, it kind of dissipates? And the other is it makes it stronger. I think you become more focused in what you're doing. With that being said, though, we need to also give others the same thing. We need to muster up excitement for what they're doing. Maybe it's not exactly what we would be doing or want to be doing, but everybody has their own thing that makes them happy, and we need to really share in that. I know when things seem to be going our way, you get very excited, and you do want to tell people. But to be honest with you, the one person that should be the most pleased about it, well, two people. Of course, God, who's blessed you with this opportunity, but yourself. And instead of telling other people and expecting them to be at the same level of excitement that you're having about what you're doing in your life, you should feel it for you on the inside. Feel proud of yourself. And I believe that these type of adjustments are what make us confident people. In other words, we're feeling really good about what we're doing. We know we're going to succeed. And if for some reason things don't work out the way they're supposed to, because we've also talked about that, sometimes that happens to get us going in another direction, or to teach us a lesson, or to encourage us that we need a little more work in that particular situation. But with that being said, the excitement should be internal. You should feel really good about yourself, and that's how you build your confidence. Your confidence doesn't come from what other people think about you, so you need to stop that. It's not about telling them and expecting all this positive feedback. The positive feedback is what you need to be giving yourself, and it ends up being a win-win situation. Because in doing that, it strengthens what you're doing, but it also gives you a self-confidence. And you feel so good about yourself. And that shows externally. When somebody feels good about themselves, it's like you want to say, wow, what are you doing different? And when you walk in that confidence, when you walk in that pride of yourself, and the truth is, it doesn't matter what anyone else says. And it doesn't matter if people give you what you want them to give you. Because the truth is, you need and should be giving it to yourself. Not only that, is there's all levels of achievement, of reaching our goals. And sometimes our first level might be very, very minor to anybody else, but to us, it's our first step that we've accomplished, that first barrier, that first step. And that means that you're working, you're moving forward, you're reaching out for something that you want to be, you want to grow, you want to be your best self. And what I mentioned earlier about people comparing what level you're at in your life, and I know we do it too. It's not saying anything negative about somebody doing that or even you doing it, because it's kind of human nature. I mean, you've noticed that we look at these magazines or social media influencers and they all look wonderful, and you can't help but to compare yourself to that. But the thing that we all need to realize and remember, that we are all in divine timing. We all reach our goals when they're supposed to be reached. In fact, there's a biblical story I remember, and again, I'm not real good at memorizing biblical verses, but there was something about a woman that wanted to have a child, and she did not. And then I believe she was in her 80s, and she got pregnant. I might be messing up the story, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. And to everybody else walking this earth would think, wow, that's too old. But in this case, it was her divine timing. It was her perfect timing. And that holds true for everything. So we can't go on a timeline with anyone else. We can't go on a timeline that we should be here doing that. That's way too much pressure. The important thing is, and what really matters, is that we're moving forward. We're moving toward being our best self. And that is where the true success comes from. I believe a successful person is one that's always working on making themselves better. Doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter your situation. The point is, you're taking steps. Doesn't matter if they're baby steps, but you're taking steps toward improving who you are. And no matter who we are, no matter where we're at in life, I think we can always improve. We could have conquered everything materially, but if you've conquered everything materially, there is still a lack, because material things alone aren't what make you happy. And then again, sometimes lacking doesn't make you happy either. So it's like a perfect balance. And I believe that we should all be working toward finding that perfect balance in our lives. And when you feel the need to talk too much about what you're doing, sometimes without realizing it, you have let people into your life that are smiling at you and congratulating you. But for whatever reason, they're not always happy for what you're doing. So you don't want to weaken what you're working on. Again, I'm going to go back to being proud of you, being proud of who you are, holding it on your inside. I believe the majority of the world is good people. I really do believe that. But we do come across those that aren't always on our side. And sadly for them, I think maybe they're missing something. There's an area they need to work on. So that's okay too. Again, it's all divine timing. We're all walking our own path at our own time. Success in itself is a very interesting thing. Some people's measurement of success is being famous, but there's also silent success. You're silently doing what you want to do, what you love to do, and you are very happy. Your fulfillment is there. So it doesn't matter at what level, that's up to you. You should never seek success to impress anybody else. It's all about you. And if your hidden desire is to be a performer and have lots of fans, that's great. But if your desire is to sit quietly and feel good about you and feel happy within yourself, that's amazing. So we can't always measure it on a scale. It depends on what it means to us. In short, I believe true success is finding happiness in whatever you choose to do. And that's what makes the world go round. If we all lived on the same street in the same type of house, how boring it would be. But we all have individual desires. And my desire is probably not the same as my next door neighbor's desire, which is great because that's what makes us who we are. That's what makes us interesting. And that's what makes us have something to share with each other. Because our journey, if we can share our journeys with each other, and you can help someone and feel good about yourself, that is priceless. I believe we all have a calling, and it doesn't matter how big or how small it is to the world. It matters to us as individuals. And whatever that calling is, whether it is big or small, we need to be the best we can be at it. I've talked to you in the past about being prepared for your opportunities. And your opportunities are being prepared for when circumstances come up that bring you closer to your calling. Even if that means you need to study more or be out there more. I think we all know what we need to work on. I think basically we do realize that. But the point is, we can't be out there bigger than life and not be happy. Because then I feel like you've missed the boat for success. The true success comes with being happy. And again, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you want to make jewelry, bake cakes, perform, whatever, anything in between. I know I've shared before, I think we all have innate abilities, something that we were born to do. And sometimes it's just a matter of finding it. And again, it goes back to perhaps things don't always appear to be going our way. But what they are doing is directing you to where you should be, to what you should be doing. And as I've said before, we can get there screaming and kicking, or we can just relax and accept the fact that when things don't appear to be going our way, that means it's redirecting us, it's bringing us closer to where we should be. That could be hidden right around the corner. So in all things, be excited for what's right around the corner, even if you don't see it right now. By tomorrow, it could be there, or a piece of it could be there. Again, so long as you're taking the steps forward, so long as you're taking the steps towards your goals. Remember, it's not always a destination that matters. It's the journey. And God bless you on your journey. Look at it as fun. You know, I look back on everything I've gone through, and the journey is so interesting. I mean, some of the things were hard. I moved around quite a bit, and for work I had to travel quite a bit. And I kind of didn't like it at times. Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. But had I known that my ability to travel was going to be limited later in life, now I have no regrets. I'm so glad I got to do what I did and see what I saw. So we never know how life's going to play out. So try to look at it instead of being a victim, instead of thinking, why me, poor me. Look at it as a shifting in gears, that you're here right now because you're supposed to be here. And keep your eyes open for what you're supposed to be learning, why you're where you are right now. And don't be afraid to share your journey or your experiences, good, bad, or indifferent, with others, because that person just might need to hear what you have to say. Or they might share it with somebody else, and they might share it with somebody else. You never know how far-reaching of an example that you're going to be. You never know. It's endless. I think one of the most important things that we can do in this world is be a kind person. Again, you never know who you're going to touch. And this is kind of off the subject, but I was watching social media. Some of you may have seen this, but apparently there is a dance called the police dance. And it had a divided screen into 4 sections. And it had police officers from 4 different countries all doing the same dance to the same music. And it made me realize just how small the world is. And watching those people dance, which I think dancing and music are universal. That's one language we all share. That's one language that makes us all happy. And to see these people doing it, it didn't matter where in the world they were, but they all looked happy. They all had the same look on their face. So, in short, make a mark in this world by being a kind person. And whether your journey has lessons in it or whether it's been easy and happy and successful all the way, don't hesitate to share your journey with somebody that you think it might help. With that being said, I will talk to you next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.